forget over and over again. Oh, Jesus, we're on. It's Monday night. It's Monday. I got the intro. I was waiting for the longer intro, and I didn't even hit mute. Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, trying to deal with Ricky. Ricky, you asked me the most simplest questions. Reminder, guys, this show works best when you guys participate. We're going to talk pigeons, pigeon racing, pigeon training, pigeon racing, pigeon training, pigeon racing, pigeon training, and people lose pigeons and pigeon training and all around, and everything goes all around. David Tracy, good evening. I tried to get loft manager Richard to be on time this evening, but Ricky couldn't be on time tonight. Let's hope that there's no echo. Let's hope that it is working okay. I always hate when the camera seems to be on an angle, or I feel like it's on an angle. But anyways, you guys tell me, how's it going? Reminder, guys, to like, share, and subscribe. And I've said it 15 times over, this show works best when you participate. So let's make sure we're on YouTube. Let's make sure we're on Facebook. Jordan Polson says, howdy ho. Hey, how's it going, Jordan? I seen you doing some early morning training. Jordan Polson sent me a couple videos. I didn't post them up. I didn't know if you wanted me to post them, but in Colorado, where he lives, he's training in the mountains. I'm late to the party. No, Tracy, you're never late to the party. I am tired. Charlie, how's it going, Charlie? So, we're going to wait for Ricky here before we really get into it. So, before I get into the show, we're going to talk training, because I hear a lot of people having trouble with training. Well, before we get into talking about training, some tips and some tricks and what people screw up with, the other day I was buying potatoes, and I ran into a gentleman that buys pigeons from us, Dr. Alexander. He's the pigeon artist. And if you guys are looking for professional paintings by hand, he's the professional. He is your Bob Ross of painting pigeons. Now, I've never had him do one for me, but here he is. This is his advert, and I'm just going to post this up here. There he is, the pigeon artist. You guys can get a hold of him, and he does all paintings by hand. You can get originals. You can get the copies. He's open for commissions. Again, if you go to Buckingham Palace, he has photos that are in Buckingham Palace. I'm going to show you a photo that he purposely went out of his way to get for me, that he painted for Bob Hope, the legendary Bob Hope. You know, when the ball drops, Dr. Alexander was there to paint a beautiful, an absolute stunning, exquisite painting. Could you hold it up, Ricky?
Oh, I'm telling you, this is very, very nice.
Now, he painted this. This clearly says it's a sample. He put a sample on this, so I can't resell it. I already had a few people ask me.
Right.
But he made this for the legendary Bob Hope. Is Bob Hope still doing the wheel at the New Year's Eve? Bob Hope?
No, that wasn't Bob Hope.
That was Bob Hope.
No, it wasn't.
But this is his paintings.
It was Dick...
Dick Tracy?
Dick
Irvin. It was
his
Bob.
last
It was
name.
Bob
No,
Hope.
it wasn't Bob Hope.
Look
Bob
at
Hope
the
never did
intraversical
No, that's
stuff.
very nice.
And you know, look, he always signs his work. He tells you this is a sample, but you could have bought this one original. Originals sell between $2,000 and $5,000. Again, if anyone does want a picture of a pigeon, the commission will come through me, and I'm going to donate all the commission.
Very, very nice.
So there you go. And this is the guy's name.
We have other pictures as well.
Yeah, we've got the one that's hanging up in Buckingham Palace of the loon. But we don't want to. We're not showing that because we got that one. But he gave me some money to go buy myself lunch, so I thought I'd give him a plug. Hell of a nice guy. But you can get in touch with him.
He's been doing it for years. Probably 60 years.
60 years.
Am I right? I believe about 60 years.
Yeah, with pigeons. He's been with pigeons. So there you guys have it. Let me get it back over here to me. Probably there'll be people just commenting now, and we're going to get that going. Let's see here. Oh, boy.
Did you hear about the ice storm? You just heard it, didn't you?
Yeah, it's snowing. Rosedale says good evening. Yes, good evening. Jason Mihalik from New Brunswick says hi.
New Brunswick?
No, Jason Mihalik. Oh, no, BC. He's from BC. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thinking New Brunswick.
I'm going to go visit him.
Perfect. Let's recover this. There we go. So, I hear lots of people in our area, they're having trouble training their young pigeons.
Well, I want to get in on this one.
And they're losing pigeons, and they're losing pigeons. They go from 100 pigeons down to 25 pigeons. You know, they go from 100 pigeons down to 50 pigeons. Is this happening, or am I just hearing that? You guys post in. Then we can start the discussion. Also, I heard on the weekend that Oscar DeVries put on a little exhibit at his home for the buyer's feed, and the Benzing, Thomas Zimmerman came up to do a Benzing exhibit. Great clock, Benzing is. Not going to knock that. I've seen a lot of guys went to it. I heard that the Benzing representative, he didn't show up, so nobody got the seminar on the feed, which that was kind of mind-boggling to me, because don't they sell, buyers, don't they sell feed, the buyer's feed? Shouldn't they know what they're selling? And doesn't buyers have somebody else that can step in when one guy can't make it? I don't know. Sorry for the people who traveled all the way there for that. I got a lot of real mixed reviews on that, but I wasn't there, and I wouldn't waste my time to go there. I know how good the Benzing clock was. I was the originator to sell it. I would have loved to have been able to put on something like that with Thomas Zimmerman. Unfortunately, we just weren't given those cards. They weren't put in our hands. I would have loved to have been able to give the Benzing clocks at the prices that they're giving them now. That wasn't offered to me at that time. But, oh well. Not a big deal. We all learn. We'll adjust moving forward. But for the people who do buy the Benzing clocks, congratulations. Those are great clocks. For the people that are thinking about using the buyer's feed, I wouldn't really waste my time feeding that stuff. When the representatives can't show up to an event, and Buyers has a big company, and they can't send somebody from Belgium to represent them, and the guy selling the Buyers, he don't know what he's selling, which I can see that. And you drag people all over from Southern Ontario, Montreal to come to your place. You know, it's horrible. People should be training pigeons. Now, getting back to training pigeons, most clubs, they start racing this coming weekend, and they put on a lovely exhibit of clocks and feed a week before the first Youngbird race. I don't know about you guys, but if I try and sell a tour to people and say, why don't we come and visit breeders in Belgium, I get the people around me saying, well, it's flying season. I get the people in Belgium saying it's flying season. We can't go. Makes sense. So why would we put on an exhibit? But anyways,
to me,
it's okay.
It's high pressure.
Well, it's just stupidity.
It's a form of high pressure.
No. It's just we're talking why do pigeon guys? Why do pigeon guys?
First of all, I want to say hi and thank you for having me on the show.
Well, you know what?
Thank
Every week, I have at the end of the driveway a flashing light for any idiot that wants to pull in here and come on. You know the big talkers?
Yeah.
You know the ones that can keyboard type, but they never show up. And I know he's watching. He's watching. Told you could come, but you don't come. You have your group. Who is your group? Where are they? You don't have a group. Anyways, I won't give him any more steam off of my piss. Okay, let's get to some of the questions because Ricky, we're here. We're going to talk training. We're going to tell them how to lose the pigeons. Losing is the key. If you're not losing, you're not winning. Isn't that correct?
Come on, let's go.
Charlie says, I'm having the opposite effect. I'm trying to lose some, and they all keep coming home.
Come on.
Well, there you go. They're coming home. They're coming home for now. That's good. Tracy says, newbie question. How do you know for sure when your young birds are ready for road training? Now, Tracy, you've been on our show for about 5 years. And this is great. This is a great question. This is what I say to the breeders that I interview in Europe. I want you to give me everything that you do. I want you to put it out in black and white. I want you to tell the world exactly what you do and how you do it and what time of day you do it. And I want you to tell them. And they all say to me, I don't want to do that. And I said, well, why? Well, people are going to take my information and they're going to use it. And I say, absolutely not. Because Tracy, you've been on a show for 4 or 5 years. You tell me, when would Ryan start road training his pigeons?
That's what she just asked you that question, right?
But Tracy knows it. It's installed into her,
Right.
but she's not thinking. But we've told, and and this is why I say,
I'm saying,
people.
I'll say, are your birds rambling, ranging for a half an hour to an hour? When you let them out, are they going? Are they starting to dip and dive across the sky? When you see them going across that sky, they got to be above the trees. And they got to be nice and tucking the wings. Tucking the wings. You'll see those wings tucked. They're not doing this. They're tucking. They're going across. They'll be gone for 15, maybe 20 minutes. Then you'll see them coming back, coming from the other side. When they're starting to do that, then you're ready to start training.
But if you're a newbie, right? Mm-hmm. You're so anxious.
Well, that's the thing too.
Right? When you see that, what you just said, give yourself another 2 weeks of that. Not day 1, not day 2. Give yourself 2-3 weeks of it and see if they improve.
Well, the first time you may see it, it may be you let them out, there was a hawk scare. And they got panicked and they look like they're doing it, but they're really not. You know?
Yeah. What I'm saying is when you see it, let them show you a bit more of it. Let them show you 2 or 3 weeks more of it. Then you start to train them. Now,
right.
When the pigeons are rambling away and you don't see them for 25 or 30 minutes, you don't see them. That means they're more than 2 or 3 kilometers south, east, west, or north of you. Okay? So that means they're doing the short training for themselves. On their own.
That's right. They're getting there. And you know what I'd like to see as well is if I know with the one loft birds here, I got a couple hundred birds I'm letting out, right? Mm-hmm. And they take off. And they don't go all in one group. Sometimes they're going, 80 of them will take off. I see them take off. And they took off. They go way out there. I see them gone. And then about 20 minutes later, I see 10 come back. They land. You know, and then I see another couple come back. That's telling me that they're going out. And what happens is they're maybe hooking up with other guys' birds somewhere along the line, and then those few will pull out and come home. Maybe they're a little tired. Maybe they're not really ready to go for this tour. It's a tour. You know, it's, you know, you got to look at it this way. It's like everybody was a teenager. And if your parents allowed you to go out, you experienced teenage life.
That's right.
Yeah. You got, well, I went to Aurora, which is 5 miles over here, just to see a friend. And then my friend said, well, why don't we go down and see my uncle down in Toronto? He's 30 miles down. Well, I told my parents I was going over to see my cousin. Well, we ended up down at my friggin' uncle's place and jumping catfish. Then he said, let's get on the streetcar. I never been on a streetcar before, and let's go out to Scarborough to see his girlfriend. Well, we end up there. So what I'm saying is, it's an education, rambling. It's a teenage stage in a pigeon's life. And the pigeon must experience this stage to become a good pigeon. Yeah. And some people, you know.
And a lot of people, I say, they give the pigeons rules right from, they take them out of the nest. Take them out of the nest, they go out once a day for an hour, they come in, they sit in their section. Reminder, folks, when the pigeon sits in his section, there's 4 walls. And if he sits there for 16 hours, or 17 hours, or 18 hours, no, he sits there for 22 hours. He learns those walls so damn good. But the problem is, on the other side of those walls, if you only give him an hour to learn what's on the outside of those walls, when you start to ask him, start to take him out and play with him, you're going to have what we call a real stupid couch potato. That's what you're going to have. Take the pigeons and give them 10 to 16 weeks of open loft, where they're open for, let's say, 12 hours a day, 6 hours a day, all day, all wind conditions, all weather conditions, pouring rain. The hawk scares them. They get scared off the roof to get in with other guys. Let them learn to be pigeons. Let's see what the comments are.
You know, the other question is as well. I got guys talking to me here. They talk to me and I listen. I don't shake my head, but I just listen. Well, did you know I put my birds together the 15th of November? Oh, yeah. Talk to him about the first week of February. And that guy will tell you, hey, my friend, I already got 95 pigeons weaned in my loft. And they're, well, at middle of February. You got snowstorms, you got freezing rainstorms. You got, on the nice days, if you do think you're going to let them out, you got the hawks poking around. Well, same guy, well, no, I can't let him out because the hawk's going to get him. And I can't let him out in the snowstorm because I don't like to do that. And, you know, so the same guy's got 95 pigeons. So when it comes to, well, I can let them out in April. Those things have been sitting on the couch all through their really early young bird season time, getting into their teenage time in their life, still sitting on the couch, and now he's letting them out in April. They're just looking around like, oh, what's going on? And you know, then you talk to the same character. Well, not a good year. I just lost 48 birds in one toss because they're dumb couch potatoes.
But they looked good.
They look good, but I'm saying
he trained them to be dummies.
That's one of the falls of it.
Let me read some questions.
And if you turn around and say, well, hell with this, I'm going to let those young birds out in January. Soon they're 4 weeks old. I'll put them on the board. They can't even fly. I'll just put them on the board. All of a sudden, get a red tail. Bang! They're going Or you get a killer hawk, they're going 5 miles this way, 5 miles that
we're
way.
getting all crazy off
but
the
that's
path.
what I'm not getting crazy, my friend.
Yeah, you're
I'm just
getting,
trying to teach
I couldn't
people.
even follow what you're talking about.
You can't.
Well,
Well,
I
a lot
can,
of people
I can,
can't.
I can,
A lot of people
I can
can't.
follow it.
Right.
But idiots that breed in this area in November and put them out on the board in January. You want to know what they are?
They're in big trouble.
They want to be a playboyer, and they set themselves
the thing
up
is
to lose.
with these people
Can I get
that
to the
make these
comments?
statements, they try and impress.
Who are they?
They try
They're
to
nobodies.
They try to impress people that don't know. I'd have to say anything. Well,
Okay.
you know,
Let me get to the comments. I'm enough going.
It's proven. If we can get some people on here to admit what I'm just saying,
No,
Very good.
pigeon men won't admit, because pigeon men, even the biggest losers in pigeon flying, they're better champions than any of the champions that actually win races. And you'll realize in pigeon racing, 99% of the pigeon flyers, they're losers. They're losers. They're not winners. They're the losers.
99%.
And we hear a lot. Yeah, that's what you hear a lot of.
I'd say
The losers do a lot of
I'd
talking.
be against what you're saying there. I'd say 95%.
I'm going to go with 99%.
Okay.
That's my opinion, 99%. Anyways, how are the OLR birds doing?
Real good.
You
They're
know
like
what?
Jet planes.
They're doing real good.
They're flying upside down, sideways. Boom.
They trap good.
Wow.
They're
you
good.
see how they trap?
Yeah.
They got barley calf all day. Oh, I shouldn't.
No, you can tell them, Bart. I don't really give a shit, because you want to know what? This year, we're going to play them the other way. And we're playing it, and it's fucking perfect. And that's just the way we wanted it. You know what's nice? I don't have to explain myself 77 times a day and have everyone look and nitty nitpick.
What's that
Nitty
song?
nitty nitpick.
What's that
So
song?
I took the nitpicking away.
That's the way. I like it.
And I still got that one loft race
That's
over
the way.
there, that one over there, and that one over there. I still will fly against them. I'll still kick their ass. But guess what? They still will not come to play. Anyways, let's keep going. What distances do people lose birds at? Says Jordan. I'll get to that question. Billy says, I've had my birds road training at 12.5 miles, and they're beating me home. Well, that means they know what they're doing from 12.5 miles. Billy, I think it's time. 12.5 miles. 30 miles now, Billy. Now, we go to 30 miles. That's the next toss out, Billy. 30 miles.
They're beating him home.
Yeah,
So
that's good.
I'm going to ask the question.
Henry says good evening.
Hey, Henry. I don't like it when pigeons in training are getting home before I do. Okay, I don't like that, especially in the beginning part of the training. I would say up to 50 miles. I don't like to have my pigeons whip me home every time. I don't like that.
Well, I think, here's the thing. I think you can get them, you can take them to, let's say, your first training toss is 5 or 10 miles from your loft, whatever you pick, okay? You take them, and the first time you take them, they're 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Boom, you take them. Okay. The next time you take them, they drop it down to 20 minutes. Okay. The next time you take them to 10 miles again, they do it in 15 minutes. Now, they're already telling you, we understand this. Yes, we're getting this. Okay, before I get you bored and just drive this into you, we're now going to go like this. Let's make you use your brain again. Let's up it to 25 miles. And they'll do the same again. And I think with those young birds, you kind of go up and back and up and back and up and back, and you do that a little bit. You get them getting better and better confidence.
I like to take them on that first toss, 5 miles, and let them take an hour and 15 minutes to get home, like you say.
But sometimes
and then
they don't
the
do
next
that.
time you take them, it takes an hour to get home. But then all of a sudden they're home in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So they figure it out.
Right. You see when they're graduating it at their own pace, right? You don't... To build that knife,
See, you
The-
got a little crinkle in
Yeah.
there, too.
The last thing that they do on this knife is the edge. Okay? Now, if you repetition them at the beginning at 10 miles, you're putting the edge on, but you're not building any part of the knife. So I don't think it's smart to overdo those short ones at the beginning. I think at the end, sure, a lot of short ones, great. Let's get to the comments. Jordan says, Tracy, as soon as they're out of sight for 25 or 30 minutes, they are ready. Yes. And Tracy, again, I'm going to add this so you don't make a oops-a-daisy. I didn't see them today. They were gone for 25 minutes. I didn't see them yesterday or the day after, the day after. Good. Do that for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then
I think, I don't know when
You're gonna learn.
I don't know when Tracy's letting them out. If she has a chance fresh in the morning when you let them out, that's when they like to take off and go. And if you can see that happening, then you'll see that. But if you just let them out, and let's say you're not around, so you really don't see what's going on. The other measurement that I take is I don't have to see the pigeon's loft line, but when I go in the loft and I handle their bodies, I feel the muscle tone coming on the pigeons, and that tells me they haven't been sitting around. They've been working. Okay, I can feel that little muscle. They almost feel like I don't know what kind of apple you're. It's like an apple. They got
but you have,
nice
you have,
little.
you have to
feel that texture.
You have to know what you're feeling.
You have to know what you're feeling. I can handle a pigeon where I know the pigeon hasn't been doing any air time, any road work in the air, rambling, whatever. It's very important. The other question is, for Tracy, is how many birds are you letting out? If you let out 2 or 3 pigeons, you're not going to get that same effect. If you let out 10 pigeons, it's better. But if you had 20 young birds to let out, now
you'll really see rambling.
You've got a team of teenagers. Let's go for a party.
Okay, let me get to the comments. So Michael Peeler says, Victoria Falls only had 3 day birds. Must have been a very hard race. Well, guys, Victoria Falls, I think, started out with 2,700 birds. They went to the finals with 400. Ooh. They got 3 day birds.
Ooh.
I love it. Everyone, get back on the Titanic. Do it again next year. See, people, you know what? We can have a tough season and show them everything. It's not good. Those races there, they don't show shit.
Where'd they go to get 3 back?
To get 3 back, where'd they go? To 500 kilometers.
So that's 300 miles. Yeah. 315
miles. I'll tell you, I don't know what they did with them.
And they got 3 day birds.
3 day birds.
Okay, what was the weather like? I don't know. Could have been headwind. Could have been hot. Headwind. Could have been bad weather. I mean, that can happen too, right? So that's today.
I don't know who's training the pigeons, but geez,
well, I don't know.
I call that just.
What I'm going to do is give them a little bit of a crutch.
I
don't. Give them some support.
I don't think it was a world record tough day.
I don't know.
And they were yearlings. I think I'll be honest with you.
Where did they go the week before, 2 weeks before?
That race?
Yeah.
Nowhere. Okay. Where do they go? No. It shows you the pigeons can't come home.
No, what I'm asking is, where was the last race point?
I don't know.
2 weeks before.
2 weeks
before.
Was it
200 miles?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then my question is, was it 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before?
With that race, I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't look.
How much training did they do from that 200-mile race to the 300-mile race in between? There's another question. So it all adds up.
They gave the birds probably 2.5 weeks off, which was too much time off. The trainers didn't train the damn birds nearly hard enough to anticipate a tough race. And unfortunately, those pigeons didn't have what it took to do it. But you could see if they started off with 2,700 pigeons and they went to the final race with 400 pigeons,
Well, they must have had sickness in there.
they must have had some problems too, eh? Anyways, that's not my problem. Get back on the boat. The Titanic will sink again. Okay, Tracy's next question. Not much. My next question. Not much ever said about road training them from all directions. I have no specific course to consider. Well, you're learning about pigeons, Tracy. So you can train them.
I would train them what is convenient for Tracy. I wouldn't say, I don't know how far Tracy lives from work, but I would, if she lives 30 miles away, I would train him in that direction instead of getting in your car and driving them 30 miles opposite and stuff. Or maybe Tracy wants to train him that way, so if she wants to go see a cousin 20 miles the other way, she could take him that way. And I think it would be fun for her to train around the block, and I would do it in short. I'd do it 5 miles a few times or something this way, then I'd go 5 miles the other way, and that way she could work them around the block.
Yeah, you just start off, if you want to train around the clock, you start short, and just the same thing. Oh, today I went 5 miles to the east. Hey, tomorrow I'm going to go 2 miles to the west. I'm going to pick up eggs. And then the next day I'm going to my favorite fishing hole, 3 miles north. I'm going there, and then I'm going south. And then you kind of go like that. Now, if you want to build up a whole bunch of speed, it's a little different. You want to go on a line more.
I got my friend Roman. He says to make a pigeon smart, you gotta train him around the block. Now, he says, but I don't believe that. If you're on a course, I believe you train him on the straight line. You can go the other side of that line though. If you're flying from north to south, train him to the north. If you want to train him to the south and back up, that works. But soon you kind of just bang and switch them. I've seen not so good.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
Now, Tracy says Billy needs to drive faster. Billy says, Ryan, you think 30 miles is okay? Oh, yeah. You're at 12 miles. They're beating you home. So they're telling you, hey, boss, we're good. We're real good. And you're feeling, Billy, like they're real good. Very good. Now what it's time to do, let's take them to 30 miles. Billy, take them 30 miles 5 times. By the 5th time, they should be pretty much,
right on,
pretty damn close to beating you home. Then you know what you're going to do, Billy? You're going to take them out to 65 miles. That's it. You take them to 65 miles and boom, jump them to 100. And that's it. And then once you've hit 100, you can drop them back to 65. You can drop them back to 30. You can drop them back right back to 12 again. Up, back, and then you can start doing them in smaller groups. Mayday's Loft. Hello, guys. Hope all is well. Every time I watch the show, it always good conversation. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't give you a call. I got busy. My apologies, Brian. I missed your call. I got caught up, but I didn't get a chance to give Brian Mansker a call. Brian, I hope your training's going good. David Tracy says, I train around 10 and then 5 or 6 then in the heat of the day. I train around 10, then 5 or 6 in the heat of the day. Training in the heat's good. If you get them used to the heat, they're going to perform better when they hit the heat.
You know,
Tracy's letting out 5 birds.
Yeah, 5 birds, so it's not a lot of birds to expect them to ramble. I never seen 5 birds really ramble. They kind of stay home quite a bit. Yeah, it's But then
No.
if you've got them out all day long, you don't know what they're doing. But I don't know. I wouldn't expect them to do that rambling with 5 pigeons.
Not yet.
No, but
Uh,
I don't know. How
you know what, Tracy? Just be a little bit more patient. A few more weeks. Anyways,
I know. Experience with some of the pigeon flying I've been doing in the say 1980, 81, 82. That was a time in my life where I had to work. Job working. I left my pigeons open whole right from the day they were youngsters, and they were out as soon as daylight came. And I had them loft flying all day, open hole, all day. I'm not lying to you folks. And 2 weeks before the first race, I had 21 youngsters. And I just felt sorry for them. They were just looking beautiful, and they were moving, up and down. And a friend of mine, Norm Bowen, he passed away 30 years ago or something. 35 years ago, I remember him saying to me, he said he watched my birds, he said, in the daytime around. He was lived close to me. He said, man, you're going to be hard to beat with those pigeons. He says they're up and down all day long. And I said, oh yeah. 2 weeks before the first race, I felt sorry for them. I took them 20 miles the first toss. On a Sunday, the week after, I took them 20 miles again to the same spot. And then the next week, we shipped. It was the fourth race, Temagami, fourth race, 221 miles. I lost the first pigeon out of that group. I lost one pigeon.
there you go.
It came like bullets.
Good.
Won 3 races in the club,
Mm-hmm.
and in those 3, won 1 combine. With pigeons, absolutely zero training.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, another good friend of mine
I'm just going to get to the comments here.
Damien Joachim was a member of the Far North Racing Pigeon Club.
Okay.
He's moved out to, I believe, BC. Great flyer as well. He mentioned to me, if your pigeons can fly 10 hours a day, fly from the loft to the ground, fly across the field, come back, fly again, fly again, fly again. If they can fly, which like a barn plug does, 10 hours a day, from morning till night, you'd be very hard to be beaten. But how many people can do it? How many people
let me
will
get to the
do it?
comments.
Okay, go.
3DX3 Loft says, that's what happens when you plan a race around a party. The birds weren't ready, but they sent them anyways. They're charging you Victoria Falls. Now, this is...
I think that's a very good point.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good point. It's a great point. Guess what? I'm going to sign back up and get on the Titanic.
No, but he's right.
We're making an excuse for these people. They're charging you one time. No, but we still are.
What he's saying is, it's not right to have the party and you think the birds are going to be
Can
ready.
I ask you, the goddamn race has been running for 12 or 15 years.
Okay.
They know when the party's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
hold on. These dum-dums in Victoria Falls, I don't really care. I won't fly the race. I'm not interested. It's a cow track. Sorry, that's going to sting. You know when the party's coming. Get your trainers, get your Africans with the flag out there hooting and hollering. I see them doing it. Get them, tell them when the party is, get the damn pigeons trained. Now, you taking everyone's big dollars in, you got everyone show up, you got Koopman showing up, the bright lights, an African dance around the fire pit, great. All shit. Because you take good pigeons, people's hard-earned money, and you put them into the ground. Because you want to know why?
I think what these people should do
You answer
is
why.
they should put a big mirror up, okay, against the wall. And all of them involved should go look in the mirror.
Do you think they're doing good?
It's only the man looking in the mirror knows what's going on.
Do you think
The rest of the people don't friggin' know it. Or they can't see the forest for the trees.
They're taking basically yearlings to 500 kilometers, which is a joke.
That's a joke for yearlings.
It's a goddamn joke. And they got all this time, and they got the best pigeons that people have put.
You know what?
And unfortunately, we gotta. I see this here. They weren't ready because of the party. They get it set up for the party. They weren't ready, but they were ready for the party. They got everything ready except for the birds for the party. I think that race should be put out of business.
Exactly what that fellow said. He's right.
Sorry, and I'm sure I'll see Victoria Falls somewhere on my trips, and they'll look at me. Well, they don't look at me anyways, but that's okay. I ain't interested. Tracy says, to work, it's about 30 minutes, depending on the tractors and trains. That's good. 30 minutes, that means it's going to be about 15 miles. That's good.
No, if it's a straight line, could be...
it could be 24 miles.
Yeah, if it's a good day.
Yeah, 24. So you work about 20 to 25 miles from your work.
And then when she takes him to work, and Tracy, if you got a nice headwind coming on, when you're getting out there, it's beautiful. Toss them at 30 miles or 24 miles, let's say, and they're getting a headwind, they're almost getting twice the distance. And you should start, what you should do is, before you start training, take your pigeons in your hands and just feel them. Feel the body on them. Then slowly you're training. Go and handle your pigeons again. And remember what you started with. And you'll start to feel the muscle will start to come on. Give them a bit of corn. Don't feed them that candy mix. You know that expensive stuff you buy at the feed store with Dove food or whatever the hell it is?
Listen, I'm looking at people feeding fancy mixes, and I'm feeling the birds. Okay? The birds feel like the mixes. God damn it, the mixes are beautiful. The mixes are beautiful. I want to eat it. But to do work,
it doesn't.
50% corn you're going to need. And you know what the problem is? I see guys that feed the pigeons, and guess what the pigeons don't eat? They don't eat the corn.
Well, because they like the candy.
No power.
Okay.
Rosedale's got a comment.
Go take a look at a fella that's building muscle. He wants to compete in a muscle building. He's an athlete running, or he's doing this. He gets told what you have to eat. If you don't eat it, you're not going to build the muscle, the power to propel your body in an event. And it's horse people.
Let me read.
Dog racing people. Where's what's his name? Steve. Is he here?
We don't know if Steve is on it. Let me read. Okay, Rosedale says, read the article about the guy that trained his young birds around the clock. He trained them out to 10 kilometers, then started to train them. He felt, toughened them up. Well, I'm going to tell you, that's a nice idea. That's ridiculous. 10 kilometers. Okay. No, 10 kilometers. When pigeons are out rambling, they're traveling around your house 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers is 6 miles.
It's nothing.
Maybe 6 miles, yeah.
It's nothing.
Maybe.
Right. People feel it toughens them up.
What I feel is if you train them to go around the block.
We're losing those pigeons.
No, hold on.
We're losing
versus them. A pigeon that's schooled to go on a straight line, okay? Every time you take that pigeon out, he always has to look at his map book. He looks, oh, where the hell am I? He looks about it. It's like if you go to work from your house to the factory or wherever you're working, and it's 5 miles straight out to the factory and 5 miles back. You know, in the morning, you get out of that house, you can go half asleep in your car, and you'll go right to the factory and get in. You don't even have to go like in the morning. You get up. Where am I going? Oh, I'm going to the same factory. Oh, where am I going? Same factory. But when you train pigeons around the block, I believe the pigeon, every time he comes out, he's going, where's this sucker taking me today? Well, I got to get the map book. This is where, yeah. Meanwhile, if you're training on a certain course and you train on a straight line, I believe the pigeon doesn't have to pick the map book out. By the time hold on. By the time you pick the map book out, maybe you got a sharp pigeon, eh? He could look in the map book like, within a minute and a half, he can find it. But by that time, that sucker there that's trained on that line, he's friggin' gone.
But if you train pigeons on a line, and you got them out 25, 30 times on a line, and they're coming great, and then you take them
and switch them
20 miles to the east,
they get screwed up.
You will be down 50, 60% of your pigeons.
That's right.
So,
because they're not, you're not training them.
So
to
and I believe the pigeon orientation around the clock, it's coming out of the pigeons. That's starting to come out because I think a lot of people do a lot of repetition on a line, and they lose that
map book
skills.
I wonder if we're making them weaker, because my friend Roman, again I mentioned his name, he said you make a pigeon weaker in the mind to map book.
Right.
Okay. He could be right. But what happens though? Let's ask the question. What happens if you're training always on a line and all of a sudden you get screwed up and the pigeon don't go on that line? He gets screwed with the weather. He gets screwed, and then he goes off on this line.
Then they got to learn, right?
Now he's got a problem, and I think training them.
Well, that's
on a bit of maybe if you're flying north to south, train them a bit east. Train them a bit west. Once you've got them coming good.
On the north line, though, like this on the line, a little bit. Okay. Little bit. Now hold on. Hoosier says Hoosier Outdoor says Ricky needs his own show. Stories with Ricky. Okay. ABC Loft says.
See what I mean, Ryan? You're gonna have to start paying me to come on this friggin' show, because I'm gonna start my own show. You understand what I'm saying?
We could just give him his show with all of his stories. It would be hours and
You
hours. know what would be great though? If you could tell the story and someone could draw a picture book of the story, and we could watch the story be drawn. But anyways, let's keep going.
I'm going to be on with Megan.
Okay.
Megan.
Who's Megan?
On the internet.
Who's
and
Megan?
We'll be on together. And what's his name? Lemons. We're going to be on with him.
Who's Lemons?
All these people, they got their own shows now, man. Internet shows. We're going to blow you off the map.
Comments. Oh, yeah, the other shows did not exist.
No. Megan. Go and look at Megan on the internet. Tracy probably knows. She's an American girl. She's covering the Trump and Biden issue and all that shit.
Okay, hold on. So ABC lost. ABC, you're going to answer your own question. What about birds that come home late from training? Hey, you can come home late once. I'll remember you. You can come home late again. Now I really remember you. You come home late the third time, I'm going to tell you something. Here, you can do one of two things. You can give them a couple more days off, try them again, and eventually you'll pick them up somewhere that you don't want to drive. Or you can just do this.
He can come home late that one time and see how he looks. Maybe he flew to
He's gonna be
200 miles the wrong way. He made a mistake and he came home. And the next day, don't get upset at him. Just see how he looks. Make sure he's got feed and got some. We'll get him back into the system, and then right? You know exactly what you said. Give him a.
Be respectful.
Be respectful.
The next time you take him out, he comes good. The next time you take him out, he comes good. And the next time you take him out, he comes late again or comes the next morning. This is strike number 2. You can give him strike 3 and you can give him strike 4. He won't make it to the end of the race season. And you've got a good chance of getting in your car with your wife and kids and driving 50 miles to where you don't want to go to pick this thing up to say, why did I do that?
Oh yeah, you're waiting.
Before the third strike, he can be in the flower garden
always
feeding the begonias.
My I heard this from different people, and I agree with it. A pigeon should never come home in a box. That means you should never go and pick the pigeon up. You're better off if it ends up in, if you want to go pick it up. Go around the corner and just give it an elimination, okay? Or call a guy in the local area and ask him, say, hey, you know what, I got this bird, it's 60 miles from my house. Can you please, you're what should I say? You're a reputable member of the Canadian Racing Pigeon Union, right? Can you please go pick that thing up and eliminate it? But 9 times out of 10, we all know that the sheep will go pick it up, and then he's going to want to breed out of it. He's going to call you in 3 months and say, you think I can get a pedigree? Because I seen your name 3 times in the book. But anyways, that's what I'm saying. Pigeon should never come home in a box. In a crate, never go pick a pigeon up, but you have to, because it's your responsibility, or get somebody else to pick it up. But when it comes home in the box, somebody brings it to me in a box, I eliminate it. That's it. 99% of those pigeons that come in a box home are garbage. That's my feeling.
And by the way, here's another trick. Here's another trick to your training. When you buy pigeons, expensive pigeons, whatever pigeons you buy, you get whatever it is. When you put the young birds into your loft, you don't look at the band numbers ever again until the season's over, because you could start training like ABC Loft and have a black checker that does not come good at all. He's horrible. Or whatever. You don't want to look at the bird and say, oh, the parents cost me $500. The parents cost me $10,000. I'm going to keep it and give it another chance. No. Elimination. So what I'm saying is, don't know, just
till the end of the season.
Eliminate.
Yeah.
Because good ones don't always breed good ones.
Hey, listen, we all know the man, his name in this area was Dave Rogers. And he was a very good flyer. He was an unbeatable kind of a guy. And I know, speaking with Dave, in late 70s, and he used to like to hunt raccoons. He had coon dogs, and I'll just give you folks an example how a winner thinks. Okay? And he made a fair buck in the fall, before Christmas, hunting coons. And he told me one time, he said, you know, Rich, he said, I went and bought this dog, and we're talking 1979. I went down in the States somewhere where he called them mountain men. They were larger men than we ever seen. They lived in the woods, and they were hunting coons, they were hunting possums, they were hunting all this stuff. And I went and bought this prize dog. He said back in 1979, he paid $2,500 for it. He said, you know what? He said, that was a lot of money. He said, I brought it home, and he said, I got the dog used to me and everything like that. And he said, you know, I'd go out hunting with it. The dog's supposed to know shit to do because it's a coon hound. And I said, he said, yeah, I'll tell you what I did with it, Rich. I said, what? He said, one night, he said, I just tied it to the tree. Bang! That's what I'm saying. But this guy here, I mean, he knew what he was expecting. Mm-hmm. He knew what should be happening with that kind of dog, with that kind of money, and it didn't.
Didn't pan out.
So what I'm saying is, go pick a pigeon up in the box, coming home in the box. sorry, you're better off to pick it up in the box when you get it. You're out in the road about 2 miles, cardboard box, put it underneath the wheel of your car and just drive over it.
There you go.
Come on.
So hopefully that helps you out, ABC Lofts. Here's another thing. If I get a stray in, stray comes in. Now you see, oh, there's a stray pigeon. And I call the guy, so here's your stray pigeon. The guy says, can you keep it and fly it for me? No, I'm not interested. You shouldn't be interested. Take your pigeon or it gets eliminated. You can come and pick it up or it gets eliminated. You actually want him to come and pick it up. So he brings his group down. You want to eliminate it. Don't waste your time playing with it, doing work for him so he gets some testing. Haha, it's a fun joke. No. Just get rid of it. Give your birds the respect that they deserve. Your birds are for your loft. His bird, you didn't buy it, you didn't bring it in, and it just showed up. So you know what? Respect your pigeons and eliminate that pigeon.
Well, when a pigeon comes into my loft, I look at it. He just got hit by a hawk.
I got the funniest thing. I got a friend. He said, I got a pigeon from this guy. They kind of chuckled and laughed. Wants me to keep it to fly it. See how I do with it. I says to this person, he spent some money on pigeons. You know what? A perch is airspace. A perch is this. The loft is this. To catch the pigeon, to train the pigeon, to chip the pigeon, to feed the pigeon,
yeah.
To do all this. I said, do you respect your pigeons? Do you respect the money you paid for your pigeons? Do you respect the team that you bred? Yeah. That pigeon that just came in, he is a waste of your time. Eliminate.
He's garbage.
He's garbage. If this guy's pigeon that couldn't do it in his loft showed up at your loft, what are you going to do? Turn it into a hero pigeon? No. Good night. But hey, we're not telling you you have to do this. We're just...
Well, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Right? You know...
We are still living. Yes, we are still living. Now, again, I want to talk about a little bit here tonight about, we talked before about people feeding pigeons. They did this beautiful, they tried to do a beautiful buyer's seminar. Oscar tried to put it on. Right. But again, wait, hold on. Oscar, I don't want to knock on this, but he's so dumb. I hate to say, you shouldn't call him dumb, but he had people drive from Montreal to his place. He had Thomas Zimmerman from Benzing fly down to this thing.
Right.
The Benzing, or the buyers people didn't show up. Oscar couldn't even give a seminar on the feed properly that they're selling.
They can't speak English?
It's not about not speaking English. No. You know what? I meet a lot of people around here. We sell eggs. A lot of people that can't speak good English, but boy, they can hold a conversation, can't they? You have to have the personality to do it. And that man there, he don't have it. Now, some birds came through quarantine that were auctioned through us. And I got word back. Pigeons were beautiful. Pigeon condition 6-7. 6-7. I can't believe this.
They were beautiful before they were shipped.
I'm telling you, I auctioned them at 10s.
In Europe?
Yes.
Right.
They come, and I handled 2 pigeons. They're in the 7s. 7, maybe 8. But there's no roundness to them. There's no good feeling.
I know what
These guys do the quarantine. They're feeding them the best mixes. I don't know what they're doing. It's like they don't know how to take care of pigeons.
Maybe he has a grandson that feeds them that doesn't know how to feed, man.
So anyways, looking at a lot of these mixes, guys, you're really getting taken for a ride. If they're not eating the mixes totally, you're going to get taken. Yeah, we're still alive. Strange pigeons immediately go into the waste bin, says Alfred. No, 100%. And, I'm saying I could be best friends with Van Zoren here. We could be living 20 miles apart, 30 miles apart, maybe an hour apart. And my pigeon goes into his loft. He called me up. I say, hey, Alfred, bin it. If I get one of Alfred's birds, bin it. That's it. Hey, racing pigeons in Indonesia. What's going on? But I'm looking at people and how they feed the pigeons. They're not using enough oomph. They're using these mixes, and I'm finding people don't feed the mixes, I think, even properly. It's like, for instance, I can be at Alfred's place and I can watch Alfred feed the pigeons. And it's like watching you feed the pigeons. It's okay, he knows how to feed pigeons. The pigeons, he throws down the Van Roby's Lady Mix. I'm just using this as an example. Bang, he throws the hens down 2 fistfuls. The hens clean that all up. He throws another fistful. The hens clean it up. He throws another fistful. The hens clean it up. When the feed starts to be, they start to go for the water. They start to do some other things. Ignore the feed stops. I go to people's places. Listen, I love to go there with a vacuum cleaner. I'm telling you, we could feed our pigeons.
You can roller skate.
Yeah, and the pigeons, they don't have this. They don't have the roll.
Because they eat candy mix. They eat the candy.
And another
the
thing,
millet, the Milos, the flaxseed.
Here's another problem.
Eat those seeds.
Here's
the seeds they like. But you know what? If you give that feed the day they come home, that gives them, they know that, especially. I come in, I get that feed, that little bit of light feed, and they like that. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the other thing. If you give the pigeons feed all the time, the pigeons, they do not have that desire to eat.
No, because...
And you can't tell the pigeons, hey guys, I need you to eat.
If you give open trough pigeons, they will eat just open hole. They'll eat just what they need to do the little bit of work around the loft. That's about it. Once you start working them, you gotta, what do you call it? Bring the feed up.
Okay.
They gotta have more carbs.
And I believe this. Alfred says this. Feeding is 90% of your performance. I watch Ronnie Coleman, and I watch the other one. Ronnie Coleman was the big black guy. He was the best. He was Mr. Olympiad 8-9 times. And Jay Cutler. And they interviewed. And Ronnie Coleman was 285 pounds of muscle. Okay, he was eating 8 times a day. He had to eat 16 ounces 8 times a day.
Yeah, ounces of what?
Chicken, rice, eggs. And maybe a little bit of vegetables. Right. Okay, hold on. Chicken, rice, and eggs. All 3 things. Flavorless shit. He's eating 8 times a day. Get a load of this one. His dietitian said to him, Ronnie, you gotta eat 1 more meal a day. Oh. Now, he said, you will not believe this. He said,
I was almost
the ninth meal.
Yeah, he couldn't take it.
He couldn't eat. He said, I couldn't do this shit no more. But he had to do it. But he could be told to do that. You have to tell the pigeons to do it. And if you don't know how to feed the pigeons, you can't tell them. Except you have to back them off and bring them on. Back them off and make them eat. Make them eat. Make them eat. If you don't make them eat, you ain't going to get the roll you need. And that means you don't have the power to finish.
That's right. Your pigeons can be trained super on maybe a short, maybe a couple short races. But if you don't know how to bring them back bring them up to where, you know, let's look at it this way. You never see a really skinny little guy digging ditches. You see the short, stout Portuguese or Italian fellow that can get in there and can do the work. What he does, he eats a lot of pasta, he eats a lot of bread, he eats, like, I don't know, I never lived with them, but those suckers, they can friggin' work. You understand me?
What
But you never see a little skinny,
what do they do
I
at
hate
the,
to
what
say
do-
bookkeeper or what do you call it, tax man.
what do
or-
they do at the end of the day? They go home and their wife makes them pasta, potatoes, steak, this. They make them food to eat, and they go home and they eat.
That's what makes them
Now-
be able to do the work.
Hold on. Oren says, Ryan, what is an iPhone app related to pigeons that you wish existed? What do I want on my phone for pigeons? Nothing. I don't know. Benzing's got a great system for their clocks. Again, I'm very disappointed in Thomas Zimmerman. He didn't even call. Didn't even call to get together with me.
Hey,
But that's okay.
Listen, my friend. If how long have you been working there? 20 years?
I don't know.
Well, once you've been working at a company 20, 30 years, really,
No,
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
But
Hold on.
you could be part of the furniture, but that kind of guy should probably.
I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay.
Right.
I
I'm just
think
saying.
the clock, the Benzing program for your phone is great. I think it works great. I don't think we need anything else. You know, if they make the bands that maybe you could track your pigeons, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm interested in that. I think
Well,
the
make
more
it-
the
make
more
it-
stuff
make-
on our phone,
Make it reasonable though for people if you make that kind of band. So
they can
if
make
your
it.
pigeon screws off somewhere, but really, why would you want to know if it screwed off somewhere? It screwed up. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you go to work in the morning. I'm going to use work, and your wife says, "Bye-bye, see you tonight," and then she gets a call that you're 100 miles the other side somewhere. I mean, how many times is she going to keep you? You know, she's going to say, "Screw you, Jack. Get lost."
I don't-
You know, that's
I
the
don't-
way I look at it. So why would I have a tracking system on my pigeon? Why?
Yeah, I don't
What?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't want an. I don't think we need any app. I think an app for my phone. I don't want to look at the phone. I go in with the pigeons. I'm looking at the pigeons. I train the pigeons. I know how they come. I know when I take the birds 24 miles. Today, the way the wind is, when they're right on, they're going to be between 26 minutes and 32 minutes. Mm-hmm. If they take an hour and 45 minutes, I can say they went 100 miles that way, 50 miles that. I know one thing. They didn't do what they were supposed to. Do I really care what happened? No. Anyways.
All I'm looking at is you get more nuts in this world.
Yeah, and you know
More
what?
nuts.
Too much phone. Too much phone.
And I think it was.
More comments.
It's good that they made electronic clocking here, this business here, but I think
It's not
it
fun.
was a lot more fun
Yes.
when we had to get the rubbers off the birds
Yes.
and put it in the clock and turn it. It was a lot more fun.
Well, hey,
We had to
it brought you and the pigeon
Uh-huh.
together.
That's right.
It made the race. It gave you more into the race. And how many times did we go to the club and guys, I couldn't get the bird in, I couldn't do this, I lost the rubber rings, the clock jammed, I didn't wind my clock, and you want to know what?
The bird sat in the eave trough, sat in the wire.
And that was fun.
Or I gotta cut that maple tree down
I got
because
comments.
that bird went
Yeah.
around that maple tree already twice. You know what? It's not the bird's fault, bud, and it's not the tree's fault. It's your fault.
Okay, I notice ABC losses. I notice a lot of pigeon feed are 12% protein or 15% protein and 8%. But the question is, who's making the feed? You know, who's making it, and
Well,
what's the
you
feed
only
for?
get so much protein in a pea. That's
Yeah,
the best.
I don't know.
That's why I feed the Whiskas cat food.
Okay.
And I also feed turkey layer pellets is 20%.
Okay. Let me get to the comments.
So they say.
When I took, Van Zoren says, when I look at fanciers around me who are hungry, the problem is that you can never fill the pigeons again. So feed them enough, but not a gram too much.
He's got a good point. You know how much a teaspoon is, a soup spoon is. Okay, I'm going to give him a teaspoon of this, or I'll give him a soup spoon of that. So, and you know how much protein's in there, and that's what they're going to eat.
Oh.
You make them. It's an athlete. You have an athlete, and I've heard of different guys saying, "Oh, again, I couldn't do this. I couldn't. I was waiting for the drywall to dry. You know, the muck. I was waiting for that. You know, that kind of guy. You just like,
listen.
But I don't even want to listen to you.
To feed pigeons, to really learn how to feed them, you have to put time into feeding them. If you're feeding pigeons in 2 minutes, you're not feeding pigeons.
That's right.
You know, when you feed the pigeons that you're working with, and you sit down for a half an hour, 40 minutes, and you feed them, 25 minutes, then you start to feed them, you start to see, and you take your time, and you'll see. ABC Loft says, they basically the same, the same, just different names for advertising. Yeah. How you guys doing? John M says, hey, we're doing good, John. How are you doing? Does a breeding or a pedigree generation or something sort of word ancestry? Listen, all the pigeon program that Benzing has, I like it. I think it works really good. But again, a pedigree is only as good as the person who's putting in everything. I think it would be good if you could sort of DNA all the birds, but that's way too expensive. So I think a lot of people get really fooled. But anyways, it's okay. Alvin says, if you're new to pigeon racing, what feed besides corn would you feed? Well, corn I think is your number one. And then you want some good fatty feeds. So you want hemp seed and you want safflower seed. That's good. If you're breeding, you want a cheap protein. Could be a turkey grower pellet. You could also use some peas. You could use that a little bit. I
make sure I have some barley in there.
Yeah,
I want to make sure barley is a large part of the life. Barley.
I missed barley completely. 100%.
Yeah, barley and then I would add a work off of barley.
Yeah, barley and corn. Basically, barley and corn, and then you can go from there. Yeah. Right? You can add some fats, and you can add some proteins.
God, those birds, and you give them a little bit of the good stuff.
But hold on. Hold on.
Love that.
Hold on. Barley and corn don't add up to a bag of Van Robies. Don't add up to a bag of Versalaga. It don't add up to a bag of Byers when you open it. When you open it and you compare the two, it's different. But we're saying for regular guys, hey, corn, barley, and you work off of that. You add some proteins. You can add one good bag of feed to that. A bag of whatever brand you want into that, okay? You work off of that. But by the way, when you're feeding the pigeons, here's something. I work hard for the feed. I put the feed down. When you eat the feed all up, that's good. If you're putting feed down and they're leaving everything, you're overfeeding. And all it is a waste. And a lot of people, I could tell you, I don't ever have to feed my pigeons. I could go to a lot of lofts and just take their feed that spills out, that's dumped out. Man, I could feed like a king. Oh, anyways. John M says, what can I do to help a cock that is having issues filling eggs. Not old. Jeez. What can you do?
I don't know what you can do. I mean, I've had that trouble before. You know, I like the powders. I got that one powder cock. He's 2 years old now, so he's a yearling. I got only one round of youngsters, and I've switched them with hens. And he doesn't. But I think his problem is he's so nuts that when he hits sitting around the 14th day, he all of a sudden thinks, I gotta get my hen back on eggs. I gotta, you know what I mean? But I haven't.
I think probably just like people, some birds are.
Well,
they shoot blanks,
Yeah,
or they don't tread the hens enough.
I know people. I got a sister-in-law. She got married, and she comes from a family with my wife's family, 7 children. She couldn't have any children. Like, okay, what are you gonna do? What do you do with her? You know what I mean? Like, it's same as pigeons. I believe it could be the same way. They can't fertilize eggs. They don't fertilize eggs. What do you do with them, right? I've heard people that they can't get birds to fertilize eggs and that. They give up on them. They spend some money on a thing. I don't want to kill it. They just put it out with the birds to law fly.
Yeah.
Next thing they know, the bird made it up with a dropper, a fantail.
Getting eggs.
The eggs are fertilized, but maybe some other guy jumped there. Who knows? How do we know, right?
Yeah, you don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Sometimes you got to change the pairings. Sometimes let him pick his own hen. Sometimes he's just not going to do it.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got some more comments. Racing Pigeon ID. Long distance are still allowed here as long as young birds. Give me some tips and tricks to marathon. 7 race 200 to 1,000 kilometers, April to August.
What, for young birds?
Yeah, 1,000 kilometers.
That's
Jesus.
600 miles, 630 miles, 1,000 kilometers, 630 miles for young birds, or for even yearlings.
A Racing Pigeon ID. Where are you located? That's just interesting because like he's saying, they have marathon races for young birds.
Wow.
Now, I'm going to tell you something.
They
The
might
farthest,
be in a lot of tailwinds, maybe.
yeah, that's one question.
Yeah.
Where you live? Are you on a tailwind course? The other thing I was going to say is, we're experienced so maybe about 570 kilometers with young birds. I've never gone further with young birds than that. But you're talking at 1,000. I'm thinking you're going to need a lot of fat on them.
1,000 kilometers around here.
You
Can't even put a yearling in that race. You'll lose them.
You'll lose them. So
Yeah, right.
let's see where he's from. I'm interested to see. I bet you he's in like Poland or something. Let's see though. Oh, chicken feed. Sure, feed them chicken feed if you want. They like cracked corn. Talk more about the guys losing birds. Jordan says. Oh, okay. I've heard in this area, guys are losing your young birds. They've taken them out 60, 70, 80 miles, and then they train them with guys, and they lose them. Guys, when you're training young birds, that group is being trained. You're training them to do the mission, do the mission, do the mission. I don't think, in my opinion, when I race them 6, 8, 10 times in a season on a race, it's race time. Before this time, I don't take my pigeons out with other guys. Don't go with Ricky. We don't go and say, hey, we're going to go sit over at the coffee shop and let birds out together. Nope.
I don't do that because I love you, John.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to you a little bit.
I don't do club training.
Oh, by the way, do you see the... who was Ronaldo playing on? What team?
I don't know.
Just whatever team. Do you see the Maple Leafs go training with the Chicago Blackhawks hockey team?
No.
Do you see that happen?
No.
Do you see the coaches, 2 coaches, were trying to get the Stanley Cup, and they're negotiating, what do we do with the boys today?
So
that's what I'm saying. You don't do that shit.
So reasons being, and
Right.
other reasons is, If you're taking your pigeons that are training in a certain way and you let them up with less unexperienced birds, this, that, the other, you're opening yourself up for those birds to have a bad day. You know what? When I mingle the birds with the big group, it's for racing. Other than that, I'll train them on my own. And what's bad training? When guys say, I took out 100 pigeons and I lost them down to 25. Here's the question you have to ask. Honestly. Did you get the best ones home? Did you get the lucky ones home? Did they all have the opportunity to come home? And why did 20 come home, 1 come home, 6 come home, or 100 come home? When you let them out, it's still up to them to do it. But I know a lot of guys, they'll get down to 25 birds, and you can already hear them. They pack it in. And they shouldn't pack it in. You've got the pigeons that want to continue to do it. Either lucky or they're the best ones. They want to do it. But why do guys lose them? And I know the number one reason I believe this is before they start training, the pigeons are robotically dumb in the loft. Mm-hmm. I know this for a fact. I can feel it.
Well, the thing is, why are they dumb in the loft? Is because the loft manager is damn lazy. That's 100% why. And the other question is, you know the old saying, does Eaton's tell Simpsons their business?
I don't know.
Does Ford tell Hyundai their business? They don't tell them. Maybe they scoop the odd guy, but they don't, you know. Do you have, if you're training with Jake, do you have Jake come into your house to pay your bills and run your house? You don't do that. This is my house. This is my team. This is where I did it. I'm doing it, and that's it. Why would you have some jack come into your house? And that's what you're doing with your birds. You're taking your birds with some other jack to come in.
Now,
it's totally a waste of time.
Now, hold on. Do I think it's good? Get the birds trained out to 100 miles. Get them out to 100 miles. Step them out. They do the 100 miles between 2 and 2.5 hours. That means they're roughly pretty much on the money.
Yeah, they're on the way.
Right? Then put some time in. Bring them back to a shorter distance. And if you have 50 birds, break them down into groups of 5 until they're beating you home.
Yeah.
Then step them out to 25 miles in groups of 5. Then take them to 65 miles out in groups of 5. Like that a little bit. Then drop them to groups of 3s. Then, hey, if you're a little bit crazy, you want to do single tossing, you can do that. Put some time in to give them different scenarios that way instead of taking them with the groups, taking them with people, and I hate to say it, training them. Here's another thing. People, you taking your birds at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you're letting them out. It's beautiful, it's nice, and it's cool. That's great. I would train them more between 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Get them into the heat, get them conditioned for it. I think it's better for the pigeons. That's only my opinion. Hold on, we got some more comments.
So the thing is, what happens is guys get together, guys, gals, you get together. If you got a bunch of gals, you got guys, you might as well turn on the music and have a little dance. But they're figuring, let's go together. We're going to pool together. We're going to save a lot of money on fuel. Jake has got a van. We're going to load him in the van. Well, you just want to save money, right? On fuel.
Now,
You're just wasting money because there's all a bunch of shit going together, right? That's what I look at.
True.
A pile of shit.
I see the York Region Club. They do this every year. It's beautiful, eh? They all watch. Give me your hand. They all drive up and they put their baskets in a line and they take a photo, right? They're all just kissing ass, eh? Everyone's just kissing ass. Ass kissing. It's a big group hoopla hoopla. They all train their birds. I look at that and I say,
You gotta look.
I say, if I was in that club and they invited me, I'd say thank you very much, but no thanks.
You gotta ask
I'm there to kick your ass.
Alfred if he's watching what he thinks of that.
Whatever. I just think, I look at it and I want to puke. But anyways, hold on. So
The guy
we got a Frank McLaughlin question. EBC Lofty's watching Frank's show. Shit. Only 10% left on the battery power. Uh-oh.
We're in trouble.
We're in trouble. 10%. I need to get an extension. If you get me an extension cord, we can plug it in.
What?
Oh, no, I don't think I can. So, you know what? We're not going to be too much longer. We'll wait till it says 5%. We'll give it a little bit more.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Go.
What do you think? Frank McLaughlin's feeding system. He feeds 80% barley, 20% race mix. You can do that if you know how to feed like that, and I know how he does that.
I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know who Frank's flying against, but okay. Again, and I don't truly believe Frank, because Frank McLaughlin...
80% barley.
Frank's a liar.
Depends on that course.
Yeah.
I
I think Frank McLaughlin's a liar. But that's okay. I did all that work for him. He seen me there at the Blackpool show. You know, when you make 50 grand off me, you see me at the Blackpool show. You don't even have the nerve. You can't even look me in the eyes, eh? Frank McLaughlin. I seen him there. I look and I just shake my head. And I say, Frank, you got me good. Woo!
It was stupid.
I was stupid.
Damn right.
I was. But you want to know what's so good? If he really had balls, he'd come up and say hi to you.
Guess who's seen the sheep?
He did. He got me. That's okay, though. You know what? What goes around comes all the ways around. Daniel says, have a nice time watching. Like the information useful. Tips, pigeons, racing. God bless yous all. Well, if you see God, tell him I said hi. I haven't seen him, but away we go. I live in Indonesia. Racing, wow. He's in Indonesia.
God, it's got to be hot there.
Jeez, I'm just going to say, I don't know. I can't give you tips on that kind of...
Very nice to see this person on the show.
I think just you're going to need a lot of fat and a lot of corn.
What's the weather? It must be very hot there.
And I don't know. That's a really tricky question. Jordan Polson says this. I don't think it is good for birds to learn how to break from... Wait, don't you think it's good for birds to learn how to break from a group? Yeah, I think it's great for birds to learn how to break from a group. I think it's excellent for birds to learn how to break from a group. They're going to break on race day from the group. Because most guys, and I love Mr. Derek Walsh, he says, my young birds, I train them 60, 70 times. They're well educated on training. I'm using Derek. He says, you think they know what they're doing when you train them 10 times? Do you really think they know? They don't know.
To break from the group, I like to train pigeons
to lead the group.
That's right. They don't even think of the group. They don't look behind them. Right. They look beside them. They go. That's
the group.
That's
hold on.
them.
Can I ask you a question?
Hold on.
Wait, I got a question.
Guys that say, well, I'm on way off the line of flight. I don't believe that shit a lot of times. I believe if you got the pigeons trained, it's the line for them. They just come out of that basket and they hook.
My
line.
question for you is, if your birds lead the group, do they need to break from the group?
No, they don't.
Why?
The group has to break from them.
Because what is Jordan? That means the birds, your birds, are leading the group.
That's 100% right. If your birds are trained to come out and hook and go, they're leading the pack. That's 100%. Right. It's just, I hate to say it. I think that statement is a cheap cop-out for lazy pigeon flyers. Lazy pigeon flyers.
Well,
And the same guy will say about his pigeons, my pigeons are stupid.
do you want me to tell you
They
something
didn't-
else?
They didn't break for the
Do
group.
you want me to tell you something else?
Right.
Here's another thing. When you train them with your guys, you say, hey, tomorrow morning we're going to go meet at the Piggly Wiggly for breakfast and we're all going to go train.
Right.
You don't set your birds up the same way you do for a race. They're not set in the same feeding, the same thought, the same planning. It's different. You just bask them and say, we're going to go training. And you know what? When you put guys' birds together, and some guys are on toss 5,
Some
some guys are on toss 7, some guys are on toss 12. You know what you got?
Some guys are on toss too.
Right.
They just think I'm going to get hooked up on this truck. Well,
And what you're doing
then,
is...
then what happens is those dummies on toss 2, those pigeons are like, they're not focused. They don't know what the hell's going on. They're coming out with this group of, there used to be a guy down the road here, he used to bring 400 birds in one shot. I guess he was picking them up all over the city. Those pigeons that are on toss 2, they come out and they go, whoa, where are we going? We don't know. Follow the blue bars. Follow them. Just follow them. Yeah, follow them. Next thing, they're dumb. They're lost. And I mean, why would you put? Why do you do that with your pigeons, my friends? What are you, stupid? Think about it. But you can't tell the novice. You can't tell novice people, the sheep, right? It's a social event. We gotta go for breakfast, and he's got a van. And I didn't take my pigeons. I was waiting to drywall to dry, and I couldn't do it. My wife didn't want me to train.
And
that's what happens,
hold on,
right?
hold on. And
then they come in my place, and I just go.
We're giving you an outlook the other way, okay?
Right.
We're giving it another way. For instance, and again, I think sort of maybe another way, if you take a look at 2 boxers, you train completely different. The one guy watches what the other, they don't train together, they train separate. You train your bird to be a leader, his own group, his own confidence. And again, when he goes into the basket the first time, it's now his time to do it. You set them up
in the race,
to do it.
First race.
Don't pre-prep races, this shit. Don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. And I know these guys, everyone wants to get together to save money on fuel. You know what you're better to do?
Get less pigeons, cut back on that expensive shit fuel, and give them what they need, and away you go.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Is a 65 or 70 mile toss better than 3 times 20 miles in a day?
No, 3 times a day is far better.
So, no, I'm saying like...
Yeah. 3 times is far better.
Far better.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because it's start and stop, get up and go. Confidence. Maybe a 65-mile toss will stretch him out a bit.
Yeah.
But you can do the same thing in 20 miles if you got a headwind.
What I'm saying is, if you take the pigeons 65 miles 1 or 2 times.
Hold on. Are you trying to corner me right now?
No, if you take them 1 or 2 times or 3 times,
right,
and they're coming pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Do you keep going there, or do you say, hey, let's go 2 times a day, 25 miles? I'd rather go 2 times a day, 25 miles. I think it sharpens them. It gets them a little bit better. It teaches them up and go,
But
up and go,
you said
up and
65 miles one time.
go. 1 time,
or 3 times
yeah,
25 miles.
3 times 25, whatever it is.
Right.
I prefer more training. But again, I could go 3 times 25 miles. Then I back them off the next day to maybe 10 miles. Then I can go one time out to 65, 70 miles again.
You have to remember one thing, Ryan.
I need some.
It takes a pigeon
Grab me some ice.
more to start and to stop. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand me? So he starts from the basket and he stops when he gets home. A pigeon that flies from the board to the field to pick up a piece of grass, and he has to fly from the field back to the board and stops. Then he comes out and starts again back to the field, picks up a piece of grass. I'm saying it takes him more to start. Like an aircraft takes
Okay.
a lot more to get off the runway than it does actually to fly.
So
And when the plane has to stop, takes a lot of energy to stop that plane. So that means energy, start and stop. You're developing a lot in a pigeon. Do you understand me?
So, Jordan, yeah, Alfred, you can say something. Go ahead. Jordan's asked, I'm not talking about doing it to save money. I'm just wondering, do you think it's good to do a few group tosses are good? No,
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I think
If you trained your bird 70 times and then you want to take them in a group toss, maybe.
Well, group toss, after 70 tosses, a group toss should be your first race.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 50 miles or 100 miles. That's a group toss. That's it. And then you'll see who are the pigeons that really focus in the mind, right? By that time, if you've trained them 50 times, they should be ready in the mind. If you've got them physically in shape, which you should have, feeding properly in shape, right? They should have it. You should have it. Why experiment with this shit when Johnny only didn't even train yet? He just said, "Oh yeah, I'd like to come for breakfast. Put him on. I haven't had him train him." Meanwhile, the other guys had him training 50 times, and Johnny's birds are going to come out and go, "Have you ever been? Have you ever been?"
We're just saying it can create. You can run into a problem. I don't like to do it. But hey,
What does Alfred say? Alfred's a pro.
Let's see what Alfred says. I don't know if Alfred trains with other guys. I know in Europe they don't train.
Oh, did you hear about the ice storm? Listen,
I do like that one.
In Europe, they have places like Corvette there, or whatever the hell you call it.
Yeah.
50,000 birds, 30 kilometers to 100 kilometer race.
Yeah.
That is one hell of a group toss.
That's a hell of a.
And those guys are trying to get in there.
Yeah, that's right, 100%. How many tosses you recommend? Hey, listen. How many tosses do I recommend? Listen, I recommend you just take the summer off and train at least once a day, and then you can train twice a day.
What I recommend.
And that's what I recommend.
Okay, you asked how many tosses.
I don't know.
Okay. If you loft fly twice a day, let's say 45 minutes to an hour and a half
Or
in
once
the
a
morning, hold on, in the morning, and also in the afternoon, right? Those loft flies are very important, and they have to loft fly, okay? That will determine how much really road work you have to do with your pigeons. You understand that? Okay? And if you let your pigeons out in the morning for 20 minutes, and maybe you don't let them out in the afternoon because you work late that day, and all this stuff, I'm just saying again.
Somewhat of a system.
That system there, now you better get out there and you got to do a little more road work, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, and again, guys, we're sorry about the video sucking. I can't figure out. We got boosters here in the house, and that is what it is.
We got to get that Elon Musk thing in here. whenever it's going to come. We put a deposit in for it. It hasn't showed up yet.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Elon's going to the moon.
That's an incredible system. I'm telling you, it works like Benson clocking works. Very good.
ABC Loft before the first race, I recommend anywhere between 25 and 45 times. And again, we're not talking about taking them 100 miles. We're talking about between 10 miles and 60 miles, sprinkling in different, in small groups, big groups.
I'm asking ABC, how much loft flying do they do in a daytime? That's very important.
Right, but he's asking, but he don't understand.
How many training tosses we need? Well, okay, my friend, if you lock your pigeons up and they don't get loft fly and shit like that, you're behind the ball. You're going to start training for your pigeons aren't, I don't know how to explain it. You know, you think those professional basketball players, before they go to practice for the team, how much training do they do before they go actually to the court to practice?
You know,
and
I was watching something with Lionel Messi.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 times a week he does 100 free kicks a day.
Right.
Just free kicks. Just free kicks. You know, set play at the net.
At the net.
Well, there's 100.
100.
Okay, he does 100 maybe every day. Mm-hmm. Okay. But why is he one of the best in the world? Now.
But he still goes to practice with the team.
He's worth $400 billion. Mm-hmm. He's still doing it. Now, why is he doing it? The more you practice, we're not talking long distance. We're talking practice. Practice. Short distance. Middle distance a little bit. From 5 miles to 50 miles in that radius. Those pigeons, you can play them every day.
Who was that
respectfully.
guy you said was a basketball player that used to train from 5 o'clock in the morning, and he trains till 7. Then he has breakfast. He has a relax till 10. Then he trains again, and then
I watched a thing on Kobe Bryant. He said, I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And at 4:30 I went to the gym. I practiced till 6. 6 I came home. I had breakfast. I had an hour and a half sleep. I went back to the gym at 9.
Listen to this one, yeah.
From 9 I practiced till 11. I came home. I had lunch.
Right.
I had a rest again. I went back to the gym at 1. I played till 3. I come back home. I had a snack. I relaxed. I went again and played at 5. Played for an hour and a half. I came home. I had dinner. He says, what was the last thing I did? I went back from 8 till 9 and played. He says, I put 6 hours in a day. He says, the regular guys I was playing against were putting 1 hour in a day. He says, in 1 year of playing, I gained 6 years. Why did I gain 6 years? Because I played 6 hours a day, and the kids in my age group were playing 1 hour a day. So guess what?
There you go.
I'm 6 years older when I'm playing against them. Experience.
Yeah.
So train pigeons. How hard do you want to train them? If you respect them and you feed them, you can train. You can train. And the more you train.
That's where I said.
But remember, I'm not saying train them 50 times before the first race, 100 miles each time. No. Don't burn the candle out, but educate them. Yeah. Is it bad? Is it bad to take your 50 young birds, your 30 young birds to your 10-mile spot when you've had them out to 100 miles and sit there and let them out every 5 minutes apart? Sit there for 8 hours and wait and watch them come. Let them out one at a time. You're going to put a lot of time into that. But if you drive 100 miles, it takes you 2.5 hours to drive there, a half hour to sit and wait, 2.5 hours back. That's 5 hours. 5-6 hours, right?
I never like to liberate when I get there. I like to sit for a bit. If you can have a coffee, just sit.
15 minutes is great.
Yeah, and just let your pigeons relax. Right?
You'll
And away they go.
Yeah, you just put a bit of time in. But anyways, there's so many ways you can do it. And what's so fun about pigeon racing is that you're the general manager. And how do you learn? You learn from your mistakes. And you have to learn. It's like Tracy. She's going to start learning now on her own. And she can listen to me or you or that guy or this guy. At the end of the day, Tracy has to do what Tracy wants to do.
But she has to pick out the similarities between
People.
top people. And you have to learn to distinguish that.
Yes.
Right. You can't have, and you only learn this through experience. It's, you
learn it. You learn it through, you pick what winners do. There's always things that winners do. I catch it with Alfred. I catch it with I catch it with all the different top breeders. There's always a few things that they preach the same song and dance to. But some have a few different things. And if there's something that interests me that this guy said, I put that in my pocket and I am analyzing that. And then maybe I go to Stable and Sons. Or 6 months goes by talking to other guys, and then I'll hear another guy say it. I go, oh, okay, that's 2 times. Then you hear it 3 times. And then you go, by the 4th time you heard this, you say, okay, this works. This works.
And over years of speaking with people, that's how you learn. You know?
Hold on. So Alfred, thanks for tuning in, Alfred. And hopefully your racing is going good. We completely break down the young pigeons. They get such tough training this year, and they are really devastated. And then we bring them back to super levels. Okay. Devastated?
So he
devastated. And then we bring them back, and they are super level.
So,
okay.
I think he trains them out to almost punish them to the end.
Yes.
And what?
Then we bring them back to a super level. Guys, I'm going to tell you, the more work you put in, the better the result.
And he doesn't take those, I bet, he doesn't take those pigeons to that level by punishing them. He does it by fairness, a strategy of fairness. Is that not correct?
Well,
what I would say, that's how I would look at it.
I would assume that.
Yeah, and there's got to be a strategy of fairness. You can't be an idiot. Guess what? We're going to fly the first race in 2 weeks. Hey, I got to get going and start training. That don't work. That don't work. It's if you think it's going to work, why don't you get yourself a pair of shorts on and start training for the Boston Marathon race. It comes the end of August. Like, okay, I got 3 weeks. I'm going to go in the Boston Marathon. I got a brand new pair of shorts and a pair of running shoes. I'm going to get out there. It doesn't work. You can't. You got
to be able to put that time in. You know, that 6 to 8 weeks before the races. But
we're gonna. You know what we're doing right now?
We're preaching.
Yeah, and we're getting rid of pigeon flyers. They're going, I haven't got a chance in the world to do it. Forget it, man. I want to get into chicken rooster fighting.
But there's nothing wrong with keeping your pigeons at home. Okay? There's nothing wrong with loft flying them, letting them out, open lofting them, so they're out there flying. There's nothing wrong with taking them a few times training, and there's nothing wrong with putting them into races. Okay, if that's what your level is, if that's where you want to be, that's fine. But make sure that they're out flying enough to do that, and I don't believe a lot of the birds are that. I think a lot of the guys, they try to be winners when they haven't swallowed it and said, at this part of my life, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
There's a
Right?
large commitment.
There's a large commitment. I talked to the one guy there. He says, my wife's going crazy about this pigeons.
She doesn't like it.
She don't like it. Well, I says,
What happens?
yeah, but this is your team. This is your army.
I know a couple people. They call them pigeon widowers. They're on their third wife, and sometimes they got rid of that one because they became
Well,
their Bible
because
was pigeons.
as
And
you
it's
get
like,
as you get more and more into this, deeper in, you become more competitive, and you're trying to learn how to put the edge on the knife.
you don't become.
Hold on, Alfred's right here.
Hold
Let's
on.
see what he says.
Okay. You don't become this man.
Hold that
Oh,
there.
I don't
Yeah.
think that works.
It'll work. Just hold it.
Will it?
Yeah, it's just slow. I'll read what Alfred's saying. Hold that picture there. You have to see it as a top athlete who has to go deep that he can completely break down. Then you can build up. They have to learn to go through the pain.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you people, if you train your pigeons at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's very good. When they do that a few times, I want you to put them into 12 o'clock and 1 and 2 o'clock and through the heat. Pain. Feel it. They have to feel it. Because this weekend, pigeon flyers are going to race. And I hate to tell these people, but this weekend, the temperatures are going to be in the 30s for the first young bird race. There's a lot of dumb young birds that are going to go up. And if those guys get fog and they wait till 9 or 10 o'clock,
the heat starts.
the heat starts. And by the way, the pigeons that can't take the heat, they'll be gonzoed. And you better make sure that your birds, if your birds can take the heat, they fly at 6 o'clock in the morning like it's unbelievable.
Like it's
But
air conditioned.
And I'm not saying not to take them out at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's great. But make sure you're working them in different conditions. Make sure you're, like we say, the basketball player, he shoots 300 times in the morning, 300 times at night. 300 times in the morning, 300 times at night. He does it this way. He does it this way. He does it underhand. He does it everywhere.
The pro hockey player, he plays on fast ice. He plays on soft ice. The soccer player plays on a dry field, plays on a wet field. He has to learn to accommodate.
Now,
the pro soccer player, he don't tell the coach, "Oh, we have a game. Oh, sorry, I don't play. The field's too wet." No. He has to friggin' play. If he can't play, he's not on the team. That's it. And guess what? Guess what? Jimi Hendrix, when he played the guitar so good, he had to play prior to that so good that his fingers were bleeding. That's how hard he had to friggin' learn to play the friggin' guitar, as good as he was. He just didn't get the guitar and start boom, boom. Doesn't work like that.
And getting back to Jordan, training them in groups with people. Yes, you can do it. Yes, that's part of training. Okay. But make sure when you do it, they're ready to do that, because it's going to be a mishmash of shit. I prefer that to be done on race day. That's their test on race day. And if I was going to do it, Jordan, I say when my birds are 60, 70 times, okay, then no problem. Let's try this. That's normally when they're ready for the first race. I think we're going to let this go. Dr. Alexander, again, guys, you can get a painting from him.
I couldn't get that up there.
It's up there. It was there.
Was it?
Yeah. There he is. He's the doctor. He's fantastic.
Where do you see it now?
I paid him. I've commissioned him to do a portrait of you. He's going to come here. He says he needs a week. So you can either go up to where he is, stay with him for a week. He's going to do a photography of you.
Okay, so there's one condition.
What?
I always wear my Serengeti sunglasses, and now Serengeti is going to have to come into the picture.
Well,
because
listen,
like,
we want you with. He really wants to do something nice. A picture of you.
I signed a contract with Serengeti, said I'd only be on your show with these sunglasses.
Well, I'm going to tell you,
so
you're
now I'm
on.
gonna go on this show.
The internet's crap. That makes the show crap. It's 10:30. We've been on for 2 hours. We've been on far too long.
I gotta have a shower yet.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for putting up with this bad internet.
Always remember what I say.
I gotta go.
99%. You're still on there?
Yeah.
99% of what a Pigeon Man says or any coach says is true. But there's 1% that's a lie.
Actually,
you
99% of it's a lie. 1% is true.
99%
Hey.
is true. But if you can find a 1% that's a lie, that can screw you up.
Think about it as building a knife. You've got to build the whole knife, and the last thing you put on is the edge. Don't put the edge on before the knife is done. It doesn't work. That's Richard. I'm Ryan. We'll see you next Monday night. The One Loft Birds are doing great.
Buffering.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you very much.
Bye for now, guys.
Coming on.
See you next week. Bye. Say goodbye.
Bye now.